Hello and welcome to Derailed. This is episode 4. My name is Greg and I'm here with Harry the Flusher.
Oh yeah,
Harry?
I totally forgot about that.
I was looking at you to cue you to say something. Why didn't you say anything?
I was drinking.
Oh.
I was drinking my soy milk.
And Greg, how are you doing? Good. All right. Well, let's start with the reveal of the topic, and then we'll get to the small talk. Today, it is my turn to choose a topic, and that topic is a little bit hard to explain, to be honest, because this is not really a topic so much as a challenge. It's a prompt.
Oh.
I just don't like that because it makes me think of like English class, but it is a prompt.
Okay.
The prompt is, and I've been thinking about this because this has been really fun for me because I've already kind of done this, but the prompt is rewrite a traumatic experience from your past using artificial intelligence.
Oh no.
And then we're going to tell the stories.
Oh.
I have the specific AI that I want you to use. So all you're going to do is give it like, I have to give a lot of qualifications here because of the way I did it. Okay. But you're going to start with like a decent amount of exposition about the experience. So like 2 or 3 paragraphs. I wrote, I think 3 paragraphs.
Okay.
Pretty long paragraphs, but you know, enough to get context, enough so the AI can get context.
Okay.
And then you just let the AI go. And then you do have to monitor it because the way AI works is a lot of the time it does go like really off the rails, and then sometimes it just gives you a really terrible option. So you do the AI website I'm going to give you guys only goes like 2 sentences at a time. So the rules are you're allowed to edit things. You can't completely rewrite the sentences it gives you, but you can either retry it if it's just completely ridiculous and doesn't work, or you can change details of that sentence to work in the story to make it actually like make sense, because otherwise it would just be.
Why would you give me this to do on finals week?
Yeah, so it's just an idea I had yesterday. So
Are we going to do this live, or are we going to just do this?
No.
We have to do it.
Prepare it. Yeah. And because of the way I did it, you also can add context later if the story's getting too crazily off the rails, like it's just nothing to do with you anymore. You can add another like paragraph or 2 to throw it back into the original story that you wanted it to. But in general, the rules are just make sure that you only change 1 or 2 things or just retry it. So
how long are we going to make this story?
So I guess it's kind of up to you, but mine is 3,000 words.
3,000.
No, Greg, that's too much.
It's not that long.
Are you gonna read the entire story out?
It's like 3 pages. It's not that long.
What do you mean it's not? Do you remember when I read out the story you wrote for Harrison?
That was like 6 pages.
I
mean, it doesn't
read. Oh god, this is gonna be awful.
That's part of that. Yes, that's why I'm saying that's part of the appeal.
Greg is just plotting this shit.
I don't mind reading.
It doesn't have to be that long,
ask me
but that's how long mine is. So,
what traumatic experience do I want to rewrite?
Yeah, I'm gonna really struggle to think of one. So,
all right. Well, what's up, guys? How are you doing?
Well, finals are done, but.
Yeah.
One of them did not go nearly as well as I'd like, and it could be really bad.
Oh, bro,
really bad.
I could tell you a story on this. So,
ooh.
For software engineering, none of our assignments got graded till the very last day when grades were due for the class. Grades are due 3 days after the exam. So when I woke up and I found out so during midterms you had to give a grade, like the instructors have to give a grade just so like, you know, students can know how well they're doing, because the withdrawal date is like a day after that, I think. So students still have a chance, like if you have an F in the class, like pull out, you know, save yourself. But anyway, I got a B+ in that on that class. I actually talked to everybody. Basically everybody had a B+. A couple people had an A. But he didn't release the midterm grades. We were like, whatever. It's a B+. It's like high 80s. It's whatever.
Yeah.
I woke up and I found out apparently he gave me a 16 out of 25 on my midterm.
No.
64%. I was like, holy fuck. I was like, wait, first of all, that just means he straight up lied.
Oh, wait. Well, damn.
Right? Because, like, if you think about it, like, at that time, the only grades we had, only assignments we turned in was 25% midterm and 10% assignment. So, like, at most, I did the math, at most I could have had a 72%. I could not have had anything close to an 88. But he put in my grade as a B+, so he lied.
Oh.
But then I talked to, like, everyone, and everybody had a shit midterm score. The highest I heard was 19 out of 25.
Oh, man.
This guy is, like, ridiculously tough as a grader.
That's, like, this semester?
Yeah. This
was like a past story?
This was 2 days ago.
This is... Oh, wow.
Damn.
Man. That sucks.
Actually, it was yesterday. So anyway, I was fucking panicking because I was trying to focus on my work for the other class, the assignment that was due today, but I couldn't because I was like, wait, am I gonna pass the class? And like, you know, the other grades slowly came in and I was like, wait, it's actually gonna be close. It's gonna be in the 70s. And then, like, he finally put it in, and I had a 75. Yeah. I was like, holy fuck, I got a C. But then we got the grade tab pulled up, and actually, for this class, the way the grading scale works is 90 to 100 is an A, 85 to 90 is an A minus, 80 to 85 is a B plus. 76 to 79.9 was a B. And then 73 to 75 was a B minus.
This is a very strange system.
Yeah. 70 and above was a C plus.
Is that like a Canada thing? Or is...
I think it's just like course specific. I think it's probably graduate courses specific.
Oh, okay.
But also because he's like a ridiculously harsh grader. Like, I don't know if anybody in that class got an A. But anyway, I'm still salty because, like, he lied. Right? Like yeah. I'm not skipping over the fact that he just straight up lied about how well we were doing halfway through the semester. Because if I had known I'd done shit, like, at least I would have, like, known, okay, the amount of effort I'm putting in is not enough. But, like, how could I have known? I thought I was doing well.
Yeah, you thought you had a cushion.
Yeah, exactly.
The joke's on you.
Yeah,
no cushion.
Thankfully, I did really well on the final, which is what really ended up saving me. But like, it didn't matter. So yeah. Anyway, fuck that guy. I'm gonna complain to management at some point because, like, it's AIDS. Unless, because my grade is currently a B minus.
He should be allowed to do that.
Yeah, he shouldn't be. He really shouldn't be. But if he changes my grade from a B minus, because it was at 75.5, if he bumps it up to the B, because the B is a 76, I will let it go. But if it's lower, I'm raising hell. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any finals drama, so. Yeah, actually, I've been experiencing for the first year of my life, students like giving you presents, because that was always the thing I did. Like my mom would always give presents to me to give to my teachers for like school and for my violin teachers and all that.
What?
So this is so that's why. So see, I was basically like bribing them. I didn't need to. I was still their favorite student just because I was good. Talented. But like yeah. And also, like, I actually like listened to them when all the other kids were like not. But yeah, but like that definitely pushed it over the edge a little bit from like just being a good student to like teacher's pet level.
Fucking kiss ass. Holy shit.
I mean, that is the Asian way though. But it's like it's nice experiencing the other side of that now. I've gotten like money and chocolate and stuff, and it's pretty great.
Wait, I would take both of these.
Yeah, and I'm just like, wow, this is extra
Speaking
perks I didn't know
chocolate,
about.
I should probably pop a Lindor sea
I'm
salt
getting rewarded.
Oh my god.
Okay, Harry, you get to edit out.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, I'm getting basically like paid for not having to teach them during Christmas, so it's kind of nice.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's not all my students; it's just a few, but it's still nice to be on that end of things. So
the thing is, most of like your students are wealthy families, so
yeah, a lot of them are. Yeah, so it's no skin off their backs, but it's some extra skin on mine.
Oh,
that's
what?
a weird way to put that, but that's how I put it. So, all right, well, let's get to the stories. So I'm thinking for order. I don't think Aadharsh, have you ever gone first? I feel like you should go first because I don't think you ever go first.
Class.
So I think you should go first, and then maybe I should go second, and then Harry can go.
Is that because I'm in Canada or because I'm Indian, Harry?
Yes.
Well, we just learned that you're not Indian, actually. Or we're about to learn that you're not Indian.
Don't spoil my story.
Dash Snapchatted us just one line from his story and hid everything else, but it was the lines. What was it, like, Dash, you're not Indian or something like that? So I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to hear about.
Yeah.
Hear about being lied to my whole life, or not my whole life, but some of my life.
All right.
All right. Do you want to start?
All right. So, should I quickly mention whenever I get to the part where the AI starts?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god, I'm going to mute the shit out of that.
No, you got to keep that in.
Yeah.
That's his prepare for the talk. Yeah.
All right. It happened in the summer of 2007. The air in the train station was humid, and the people crowding the terminal station in Mangalore were indifferent to all but their own worries. It is upon this scene we find a young 5-year-old named Aadharsh, just beginning to learn how to spend time on his own without his mother to entertain him. His family always visited their home state in the summer, and this time was special because the entire extended family was traveling with him for the vacation. Aadharsh was anxious to get off the train. He had been stuck in it for 13 hours, and was ready to rush out and meet his cousins. As soon as the train had stopped, he was the first out the door. He was quickly told to wait by his grandpa, and spent 5 minutes observing the passerby before the rest of his family had fully exited the train. After he had checked that everyone had left the train, he quickly marched forwards towards the exit, where he knew his uncle would be waiting to greet them. Within a minute of walking, he realized he would have to wait for everyone to catch up, because there were simply too many people at the station, and there would be a long ways to go before he could reach the exit from the rail platform. So he quickly turned back around to encourage the rest of his family to speed up. There was only one problem. Amidst the hundreds of faces he saw when he turned back around to look at the train, not a single one was recognizable to him. He quickly rushed back to the exact rail car they had exited from, but there was still no one. His family was nowhere in sight. And the AI takes over now?
Bro, this narration.
Wait, did you actually stay in a train for 13 hours?
Yeah, that's usually how long it takes.
That's crazy. That's so long to be in a train. God damn.
These are sleeper trains. You get to...
Oh, okay. Is it like... Okay.
So it's
that's
not that
better,
bad.
But yeah, it still sucks.
It was actually like, when I was younger, it was more like a journey for me. Because like, when you're small...
I guess when you're young.
Yeah, I can take like the upper bunk.
That kind of thing is
like,
fine.
When I went back last time, it was hell. Because like, I can't sleep on the upper bunk. I'm too large. Anyway.
Right, let's hear the AI.
The boy was now scared. He thought about running, but the fear made it impossible for him to move. He stood frozen in place, thinking hard about what he should do next. As he stood there, unable to move, he began to hear the sounds of a small group of people coming near him. He looked down the tracks and saw 2 men approaching. From the tracks, apparently. They carried a large bag in their hands, which they brought close to Aadharsh's face when he didn't react to them. "Are you lost?" one asked. No. Aadharsh froze again, unsure whether he should answer or not. But then another voice answered the question for him. "Yes," he said meekly. One of the men smiled.
Wait, another voice? Wait, what? Which voice? What other voice?
Oh yeah, sorry. Another voice answered for him. "Yes," he said meekly. One of the men smiled and gave Aadharsh a reassuring smile. "Don't worry, sir. We will help you." The other man smiled.
I don't like where this is going. I really do not like where this is going.
The 2 strangers led Aadharsh away from the railway terminal after dropping off the bag they had been carrying. They led him through the streets lined with shops and markets, past colorful stalls and vendors. At every turn, the small child stared with wide eyes at the world he never knew existed until now. I guess I was just sheltered. As they walked, the voices of the 2 men seemed to grow louder, as if there were more people than just the 3 of them. Soon enough, they arrived at a large house with a small garden and knocked on the front door. A woman opened the door and with a warm smile welcomed them inside. She sat them down at the kitchen table and offered them some tea. Alright, are you ready?
Oh no.
Aadharsh's mind was spinning. Here he was, sitting in a stranger's living room, drinking tea with these strange men who called themselves his, air quotes, parents.
Wait, what?
Yo, he got abducted!
He just got adopted.
Yeah. And yet, despite the strangeness of everything he was experiencing, he felt safe. He had been so afraid in the train station. He hadn't even noticed the smell of the fresh flowers decorating the table, or the warmth of the sunlight pouring into the kitchen window. He was surprised at himself, wondering how he could have ever worried about his family, when he had not even known they were out there. But then he remembered the bag, and the large smile on the man's face as he handed it over to his parents. He wanted to ask his parents what it was, but he was afraid to speak. He knew he should tell them he was lost, but he was already so comfortable in their presence. Instead, he decided to sit quietly and observe. So at this point, I know they're not my parents, but I'm slowly forgetting that they're not my parents. Right?
I think you've just you acclimated so quickly to this situation. And Ash is like, I got new parents. There's a bag here. I'm drinking tea. Yeah,
fair enough.
This is my life now.
This is a good life. Shit.
All right.
I'm not totally convinced this is fake.
He watched his parents. Anytime I use that voice, it's air quotes. Talk to each other as they poured cups of steaming hot tea for both of them. Then he heard the sound of a car starting outside, and the familiar sounds of a car driving away. He turned to see his parents sitting by the window as the car drove off. The man spoke to the woman, and she nodded slowly. Aadharsh was confused. Why did the couple leave? First of all, it was two men, so...
Yeah, I was like, wait a second.
Were they leaving?
It's okay. It's 2020.
Yeah.
Or it was 2000. Actually, I don't know if it was okay during 2000.
AI is just really progressive. Were they really leaving him here alone? Was he supposed to stay? He wasn't sure. So he stayed silent and listened to the sounds of the house. As he sat listening, he suddenly noticed movement in one of the windows across from him. He turned to look at it and saw a small boy looking out the window. In an instant, he recognized him as his cousin, Adil.
What?
Adil?
A-D-I-L.
Adil? We have a dash and Adil.
Wait, did the AI actually make that up?
Yeah, I did.
No way! That's so good.
I did not get... None of this is prompted, by the way. The only time I edited anything the AI wrote, it was like the second generation, and it said like he ran to his grandparents behind him, and I was like, well, I've literally just said they aren't there, dumbass. But besides that, all of this is just like AI generated.
Aadharsh, turn me over. I'm a pickle. I'm a dill pickle.
Alright, where was it? Yeah, the boy was waving to him. He waved back, and the boy continued to wave until his father came to open the window. What are you doing, Adil? You're not supposed to leave your room.
Wait, so they kidnapped your cousin, too?
Actually, I didn't even clock that in the first story. The first time. Aadharsh's father scolded him. The boy closed the window and returned to his room, but Aadharsh couldn't stop smiling. He had just met his cousin, and they were getting along great. Also, here's... Actually, let me reread the three sentences again, because this is hilarious. He had just met his cousin, and they were getting along great. He had never seen Adil smile like that.
What?
How?
I mean, that's not wrong.
Yeah,
you have never seen Adil smile that way.
For fuck's sake. As the day wore... Also, if I had just met him, how did I instantly recognize him? Anyway. As the day wore on, Aadharsh learned many things about the strange new world he found himself in. The house was owned by his parents, and the car belonged to his father. His parents worked in a shop, and this was the shop.
Oh my god.
His aunt and uncle lived downstairs, and his other cousins were upstairs. Why are there so many houses? And why do I have so many relatives? He asked his parents once. His mother laughed and replied, You grew up in a big city, and you've never been anywhere else. This is a village.
She's just gaslighting you. She's just making up your past. I guess you were too young to actually like fully remember everything. So this, this actually could have happened.
But my parents were born here, he argued. His mother shook her head. No, they weren't. Your parents, your
classic
parents, were born in a different part of India. They got married here and then moved to the city to work. Aadharsh looked surprised. So I'm not Indian? I'm retarded in this story. Like, your parents were born in a different part of India.
It's okay.
And I was like, so I'm not Indian.
Yeah, I know, but...
Get your shit together. Of course
you gotta be more like Adil. Look at fucking Adil over here. Fucking flexing in the windows.
Yeah, of course you are, his mother assured him. Just because you don't know doesn't mean it isn't true. Thank you for the enlightened platitudes, AI.
What? Oh, I thought that was the next line. I was like, whoa, Aadharsh just grew up.
Aadharsh was confused. What did she mean? But he didn't want to upset her, so he let it go. It was late in the evening by the time his grandparents returned. They were exhausted from the trip, but also very happy to be reunited with their grandson. When Aadharsh's grandfather took him in his arms, he felt so safe that he immediately fell asleep. And I just stopped it there, because it seemed like a decent...
That is a beautiful story. And also... That is one of the funniest crimes I've ever heard of. Like abducting a child just to parent them normally, but then like trying to gaslight their whole past. But like you don't do anything else. Like you just raise them like a normal child. Like imagine like in the future, it's like you're revealing that they're adopted, and they're like, oh, I wonder who my real parents are. And it's like, yeah, so we kind of stole you from your real parents.
When you turn 18, it's like we have something important to discuss. You're adopted.
You were abducted. You were abducted, and then the kid's like, "You mean adopted?" And they're like, "No." Oh, that was great. That was so cohesive.
Yeah. So the thing is like I was getting a little weirded out when like it got to the like guys, and they were like, "We will help you." And I was like,
yeah. I was like, that could go in a really bad direction.
Yeah, well, it was either that, or I was like, wait, what if it actually gets the story right? Because what actually happened is, like, as soon as I realized I couldn't see anybody, I just started crying, because I was 5, and I was like, wait, I'm just lost. And so this, like, really nice guy, like, he just stopped, and he was like, what, like, where's your mom? And I was like, I don't know. And so he's like, do you know her phone number? And thankfully, one of my mom's like nightly exercises before she put me to sleep was always to make me repeat her phone number out loud.
Oh, big brain.
Yeah.
Big brain.
So
massive
without that,
brain.
I don't know, because like realistically, what had happened is I had like, imagine like, you know, the front engine of the rail car. If you keep going forward, you go inside the station. So that's where I started to go. I got a few paces ahead. What my family had done is there was a side exit right next to the head of the train. But it's actually really hard to see if you're tiny because it's more elevated. So that's why I didn't see it.
Short ass.
Yeah. So anyway, I just started like crying in the middle of the road, and like a guy was like, "Okay, I'll help," and then, like. I told her my mom's number. She picked up, and then she just like came and took me, and I just like cried the whole fucking journey.
I will say I can't remember any specific experiences of this, but I do know this feeling, and I feel like being a child and being lost and not knowing where your parents are is like one of the most devastating like feelings you can get as a child. I don't remember any specific stories of that happening, but I do know that I've definitely experienced it before.
Yeah.
And it's like the fear that enters you when you realize that you don't know where your mom or dad is. It's like, oh my God.
I will say too, it's like it has no bearing on the feeling felt, like but like, you know, like it is so much better in America than like where I experienced it, because like again the child won't know this. Like if you're 5, it doesn't matter where you get lost, the feeling is going to be the exact same. It's just like utter dread. But like 99% of the time, if you get lost in like a Walmart or like even a train station in America, chances are you'll just get escorted by the rail police, and they'll just keep you there, and then the mother will come looking.
Wait
the
for the
rail
parent,
police.
And then if it's if it's like at a Walmart or something, a lot of the time they'll like go on the intercom and be like, your child's
someone
over
get
here,
this little shit.
But Mangalore train station is
they're just like
there's nothing like that train station, especially at the time, was littered with beggars. So almost 90% of what would have happened is I would have actually just straight up been abducted and probably had my organs harvested.
Damn.
I'm not even joking. I'm not joking about that. That's actually a thing that happens.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
And there was a very likely chance that could have... I don't know how likely it is, because again, I would have just stayed there crying, most likely.
Yeah.
And my mom, the first thing she would do is go back. As soon as... Because the main reason they probably didn't come back immediately is because they didn't realize, because again, all of our family came, so it probably took till as I started crying before my mom was like, wait, where's my son? She's like, I thought he was with you. He's like, no, I thought he was with you.
I have to say that story is right on the border between wholesome and creepy. Yeah, but I think it's a little bit closer to the wholesome side, because honestly, they didn't do anything bad to you. They just adopted you.
They just gaslit me.
And it's they didn't straight up kidnap you from your parents. They just saw a kid by themselves in the middle of a train station and was like, well, you know what? That's our kid now.
Yeah, no, I mean, sure, my biological
gay lovers that eventually became straight.
Sure, my biological mom would be devastated, but I'm okay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a certain level of creepy still, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so that was that.
Yeah, you said traumatic story, and I was like, "What?" I struggled to find a traumatic story. I was
no, that qualifies. That's definitely good.
That is my earliest traumatic memory.
Mine is honestly, I don't know if it's that funny. I think it's kind of depressing.
Oh, no.
Because the context I gave it is very depressing, and the story just ran with that. It didn't really make it that ridiculous. It just continued the theme. So this might not be like a like a laugh out loud story, but I am gonna do the same thing as Harry and tell a quick short version. Because I did 3 versions of this story.
Holy shit.
In the short one I want to tell you guys, I'll do it after. But the one I want to also add is the one where I told you guys I accidentally did the dragon theme. So that one's pretty funny. But
right before you start, by the way, why did it bring up India?
Wait, what do you mean?
My story. So the only thing it could have.
Oh, you didn't bring up India. Yeah. It just brought it. It felt wow. That's creepy.
So the only thing you could have guessed. Only thing it had is Mangalore. Is a very obscure, very niche.
I guess it just managed to found that. Yeah. No, if you want to know something creepy, so I'm not going to tell this story because this is the one I chose not to. Yeah. But there's this passage in this that is absolutely crazy. So halfway through the story, it just randomly goes on this tangent, and I'll just tell this part. One day, I met a girl who changed my life forever. Her name was Akari, and she was the first real friend I had ever known. She was tall, muscular, and beautiful. Whoa. She had dark hair and brown eyes and was the smartest girl I ever met.
Okay.
Akari and I had many things in common. We both loved basketball and video games. We were both quite athletic. We shared a love for anime and manga, so we often watched TV shows together. We were both huge fans of One Piece, which was our favorite show at the time. I did not mention anime at all in my context. I'm about to tell you my context, and you'll notice that it has nothing to do with any of these things. There's no anime, there's no One Piece, but it just brought that up out of nowhere, and I was like, yo, that's freaky. That is freaky.
We are algorithmically predictable.
And it's basketball and video games, those are things that I was of all the sports to choose, it did choose one that I actually played, like basketball. And video games, I play video games. I mean, I guess that's a little less crazy because a lot of guys play video games. But the fact that they caught One Piece,
anime is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
Especially because it wasn't like Dragon Ball or Naruto or Pokemon.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I just thought that was insane. Where is the story? Okay. Did you title your story?
Yeah. The title of my story is Podcast 4
Aadharsh, Story. I'm gonna have to dock 5 points from your grade. So I didn't actually title my story. So I can't say anything.
I mean, the title of my story is just abduction, I guess.
Also, yeah, I'm not going to give the true context of what happened because this is a story for another time. So you're going to hear the fake version first. All right, here we go. It was 3:00 at night and I was asleep. At the time, this wasn't a strange time for me to be sleeping despite my current abhorrent sleep schedule. Thus, I was sleeping soundly in my room, unawares of what was to come. I awoke when I felt someone shaking my arm. I naturally assumed it was one of my parents, though with the light on my eye. Oh, wait, what? Though with the light in my eyes. Wait, what in the world did I write? Okay, sorry. I naturally assumed it was one of my parents, though with the light on, my eyes would not open, nor did I want them to. A voice proved my assumption to be correct. Gregory, we're sending you to a Buddhist school. You'll be away from home for a while. This is for your own good. My mind was still blurry from having just woken up, and I barely registered what was said. From what I did manage to piece together, I could tell I didn't like what my father was saying, so I ignored him and put my head into my pillow. I can't perfectly recall what happened next, but at some point my father left the room and two completely unknown voices started talking to me. One was female, the other male, and both were telling me to get up. As my mind became clearer and clearer, all I knew was that it was an absolutely bad idea to listen to them. Little did I know, I didn't have a choice. I was violently pulled off the bed, waking me up fully. I was only wearing boxers, totally shirtless and exposed, which made me instantly embarrassed. Even more so than I was alarmed, despite the situation. However, that embarrassment quickly faded when they forced clothing onto me and handcuffed me, shouting incoherent words about the need to comply and go with them. I was dragged down the stairs, handcuffed, confused, worried, and worst of all, betrayed. I knew my parents had something to do with this, and I desperately called out to them, but got no answer. I even begged the two strangers to at least let me see them one more time, but they ignored me and dragged me out the front door as I screamed for my parents one last time. As soon as we were outside, I was thrown into the back of a truck. Wait, so that's where my writing stops. This
Bro,
is
your
where the
dad
stops.
actually fucking bullshitted you.
Oh yeah, no, he just straight up lied, by the way. That never happened. I never went to a Buddhist school.
Okay, so
I guess that's spoilers.
I remember to ask about the Buddhist. I was like, wait, was that not AI generated?
I was always confused about that because like he said that and that just never happened. So yeah. I don't really know what that was about.
I was like, this is basically your trip to Star Guys, but like I know your dad.
It is.
Like, but at one point, your dad was thinking about sending it.
He was
considering the Buddhist school.
Absolutely. In Taiwan. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. So so that's what I thought was happening, because that's what he said. But that's not what happened. But in this story, maybe, who knows? So this is the AI. As soon as we were outside, I was thrown into the back of a truck, along with several other people who looked similarly dressed and equally terrified. We were then driven for hours until we arrived at the airport. I was told to stand in line and wait for our flight. Since we were being taken out of the country, passports weren't required. Since we were being taken out of the country, passports weren't required. Yeah. But I asked if I could keep mine anyway. I guess I just brought it with me as I got handcuffed.
You just like on the way, you just grabbed it from your dresser. Like probably.
Yeah. The man behind the desk asked me why, and I explained how my parents were involved and I didn't wish to lose it. He said there was no reason to worry. Once everybody's boarding passes were scanned and printed, we boarded an airplane, which took off to Japan, where I learned we'd be staying.
Wow.
Upon arrival, I was ushered through customs, my handcuffs removed, and led by a woman who spoke Japanese. She took me to a small room where she sat across from me and began asking questions. They ranged from, Japanese? What is your name? Apparently not. They ranged from what is your name to why are you here? But the latter question seemed especially important to her. I'm like, why am I here?
Tell me.
I answered truthfully, explaining that my parents had lied to me and sent me to this school for my own protection. She listened silently, nodding occasionally before thanking me for my honesty and escorting me out of the building. I was then placed in another vehicle and driven to a compound surrounded by fences and guards, clearly meant to keep outsiders out. What kind of Buddhist school is this? I thought to myself. It felt like I was in a jail cell or something similar.
Wait. Before you continue, I feel like this has so many parallels to actual reality.
It does to some level, yeah. After being shown to my room, I unpacked my suitcase and took stock of my surroundings. I was in a dormitory with around 50 other people, all of whom appeared to be foreigners. I hadn't seen any Japanese people aside from the woman who brought me here. I tried speaking to them, but no one replied. I thought maybe they didn't speak English, so I tried speaking in Japanese. I guess I know Japanese now. I was met with I probably just spoke some anime words like "sugoi."
That sounds like an 8th grade Greg thing to do.
I was met with silence again, so I stopped trying after a few minutes. Wow, I was dedicated. There was a TV in my room, but since no one else was watching, I decided to ignore it. Wait, that sentence is so stupid.
What? You are so peer pressure. Bro, this anime has you down.
For the first couple days, I was alone, but I started to notice a pattern. Every morning, a group of women would come to clean the room. After taking care of the cleaning duties, they would leave. The same thing would happen every evening, except that instead of women, men would come to clean. The only person who ever came to my room was, okay, I guess besides them, was an older man who always wore a suit. He spoke to me on occasion, but he never said anything about my family or why I was here. He didn't seem particularly nice either, but after a week, he had yet to give me any sort of trouble. Soon after that, I started to feel better and started spending most of my time outside of the room. While I was wandering the grounds, I saw other foreigners who also lived at the school. They all seemed to know each other, but none would speak to me. When I approached them, they either avoided eye contact or turned their backs. I was starting to wonder if I'd been abducted by a cult or something similar. I kept looking for some way to escape, but I couldn't find a single hole in the fence surrounding the school. After a few weeks, I came up with a plan to escape. If I could get a map from one of the students, I might be able to sneak out and figure out a way to get back to my parents. I waited patiently for my chance to strike, but it never came. Instead,
why would a random student just have a map on it?
Instead, I continued to live day to day, taking classes and studying hard. One day, I was walking through the dining hall when I heard a familiar voice. "Gregory, can I talk to you for a second?" I turned around and saw a girl who looked nothing like the others I'd seen her. Her hair was long and red, and her skin was pale. She was wearing the same... Yeah, apparently. She was wearing the same uniform as everyone else, but I could tell she didn't belong. She looked sad and lonely. "Hi there, what's wrong?" I responded. She stood up straight and smiled. "You look different." "Different how? I'm the same as everyone else." "No, not that. You're acting differently, like you're happy, and I haven't seen you smile much."
Holy shit.
So she thinks I'm happy despite never seeing me smile. So.
Yeah, no.
I guess she has just really good intuition. I opened my mouth to respond, but I suddenly remembered what had been bothering me. "Oh yeah, I've been doing a lot better lately. I guess I finally started to accept things for what they are." She laughed. "Accept things for what they are. That sounds like advice from a fortune cookie." "Yeah," I chuckled, "but it's true. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do when I graduate, but right now, I'm just enjoying my time here. No matter what happens, I'm glad I joined this school. It helped me grow as a person." Her face lit up. "That's great to hear." Her face lit up. "That's great to hear. I think you're right about enjoying your time here, too. You should try smiling more often." We both laughed. Then her expression turned serious once again. "By the way, my name's Mika. Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you, Mika." And that's the story of me going to Japanese prison school and becoming zen as fuck. Yeah. I wrote that last line. I did, right?
Yeah. And also meeting a cute redhead. Living out my dreams.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, I read this and I was like, man, I wish this happened. This sounds great. Going to a Japanese school,
significantly better.
Just doing normal school there. Yeah, meeting a girl, being shunned by everyone else, but being chill with that. This version of me became really, really chill.
Yeah, no.
I was thinking when I was looking at these, I was like, I like to believe that this is like a multiverse version of ourselves that like went down a different path. Like there is a version of me out there that did go to Japan and is a certified weeaboo.
Well, you know that's why your dad was going to send you Buddhist school, because you were zen as fuck.
I always like I wonder what would have happened if that actually had happened, but
you got sent to a Buddhist school.
Yeah,
that would be very interesting. Because
do you think I would have become really zen, like monk status?
I think I would never know, because we'd never be friends.
I don't know. It would have been because you were always the one I wasn't as interested in, like the Buddhist shit.
Yeah,
because I did jump on that for a little while. But.
I take it back. I reckon it would have changed you, but it would have still made you bitter. I don't think you would have become.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have been like super happy with it.
Yeah, I think it would have made you just bitter enough that we would still be friends. You just wouldn't be so traumatized.
I wouldn't have as many interesting stories.
Yeah, you just wouldn't be so like emotionally burdened.
All right, let me tell this other version of the story.
Dragon?
So the way the novel AI thing works is it can have prompts, and I erased the text for this one, but it still had the prompt of dragon slaying. So the story sort of curves towards that, and you'll see that happen very quickly. It railroads you like immediately once it gets the chance to. So the last sentence is let's see. But they ignored me and dragged me out the front door as I screamed for my parents one last time. The two men carrying me changed from one woman and one man to two men. So once again, AI is being very progressive here. Yeah. Or maybe these are the guys from your story and they made a crossover.
they realm travel a lot.
Play fucking Avengers music.
I'm assembling a team.
The two men carrying me took me down the street into a car, putting me inside. The car itself looked like a normal sedan, but it was enormous. I couldn't believe how large it was until we started driving, and I saw the driver's seat was positioned far forward, leaving plenty of room for passengers behind him/her. Wait, I knew. I saw it happen live. I saw him turn from a girl to a guy, and I was like, yeah, this makes sense to me.
That's
The car also had no windows, making it clear that it had no intention of letting anyone else look inside. While I was in shock, the two men removed my handcuffs and stuffed me into the back seat where a woman sat. I swear, every single time I write a story, a woman jumps in. I don't know why. I think they're just trying to spite me. She seemed to be around my age, but she was wearing nothing but a white robe. On her head was a sash bearing the... She's wearing a white robe, calm down. On her head was a sash bearing the crest of the Kingdom of the Wolf. It was obvious she was nobility, but I didn't recognize her from anywhere. In fact, I'd never met anyone this powerful before, so I was thrown off by her presence.
Wait, so you can just like sense power levels now?
Yeah, apparently. Once I was safely seated, the car sped away from the city. I asked the two men who the girl was, but they didn't respond. They merely stared ahead as the car drove, giving me no reprieve whatsoever. We reached our destination pretty quickly after that. By the time we arrived, I was completely lost. There was a large castle near us. However, there were many people wandering around outside, so I doubted it was a normal place of residence. Galena, I shouted. Where are you? What's going on? This just came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
the previously not mentioned Galena. Yeah. However, the woman didn't respond to my cries. Instead, she just silently stared at me.
Bro,
as much as I wanted to
in multiple areas.
As much as I wanted to run over to her, I couldn't do anything until I got out of the carriage. So it's a carriage now, and apparently it's a transformer. So I reluctantly climbed out and walked towards the gate, where a guard stopped me. State your name, purpose, and destination, he demanded. I puffed up my chest, hoping it would intimidate him enough to let me enter. My name is Gregory of the Kingdom of the Wolf. I'm here to help my friend Galena defeat a crystal dragon. I think I'm just bullshitting at this point. I'm just rolling with it. Yeah. The guard was obviously confused, but after a quick glance at the crest on my clothes, he finally understood. You're a member of the royal family? Yes, I am. He gave me a suspicious glare and then opened the gate. Enter, sir. Please note that it is forbidden to bring any weapons or magic items into the castle. Does this count as a weapon? I growled, taking my shirt off and revealing my little friend. The guard
wait. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
The guard... no context here. The guard backed up, shouting and pulling out a sword. Whoa! Hands up! Drop the little friend! Drop that little friend right now!
What do you mean
by
that?
It's a dragon.
I tensed up, prepared to make a break for it, but as more guards popped into existence around me, also holding swords, I sighed and dropped my
into existence? They fucking teleport?
Yeah, they're going boop, boop, I sighed and dropped my little friend. With my arms raised, I glared at the guard. I still don't know what I'm doing here. I mean, I know that I'm here to slay the dragon and help Galena, but why was I taken from my abode against my will and chained like a peasant? I was going to come here in a few days anyway. The guards laughed and I glared at them. I'm serious. Why was I brought here? One of the guards said, to be trained in the ways of the warrior, of course, you great buffoon. And what does Galena have to say about this, I asked. She's probably too busy dealing with her own problems right now. I groaned. Well, I've got bigger problems than that.
What could
possibly be more important than saving the world and defeating a crystal dragon? I feel like my parents forced me into a school I didn't want to go to. And that's the end.
Wait, what? Bro, you can't do that to me. Oh my God.
I was like, I have to give the novel AI credit. It did actually contextualize things at the end, because it made it so that the reason I got kidnapped in the first place was because they wanted me to start training earlier, so they didn't want it to be some cushy I go there myself to train. They kidnapped me to train me in the harder way, so it actually kind of makes sense. But yeah, that was the first thing I got, and I was like, why is this so medieval themed? Is that just the AI? And then I looked at the prompt and I was like, oh, the crystal dragon.
Yeah, no, it all makes sense.
All right, well, those are my stories. That's actually what happened, by the way. All true stories, by the way.
Of course.
I am royalty, and I got bitches everywhere. That hurts to say.
Bitches all around you. Zen as fuck.
Yeah. All right, Ari, it's all you.
So the first one I just wrote down 5-6 sentences. Mm-hmm. Maybe 3.
Did you title your stories, or did nobody follow my rules?
So the first myself? One is so the second one is keys. It's basically keys in what's it called? Roller coasters.
Oh,
the first one is basically keys in a party. The first one really went weird, and then it just ended abruptly, and I just left it there because I was like, "What the fuck is this shit?" So I'll do the real short one real quick.
Yeah.
Harry, Greg, and Aadharsh were on a food trip. For the last day, they decided to go tubing down a river.
I was really hoping someone would do this story. I was like, please, someone tell the key story.
It wasn't traumatic enough for me.
I might not have made it dramatic enough to make a good story, but oh well.
That's all right.
It was a long wait to get the inflatables, but after a long stand in the sun, Harry, Greg, and Aadharsh finally got into the river. However, after a few minutes into the ride, Harry did the worst thing imaginable. He threw his speaker with the keys attached to it to Greg, but missed. The speaker and the keys hit the water and sank. All right, that's the end of the first part.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
For those of you who might be wondering, it did not get better after that. Yeah,
the story got better, though. They tried... Okay, this is the AI part. They tried everything possible to find the keys and the speaker, but they couldn't find anything. Not even a trace of it. The whole group started crying as they thought about the time they spent.
True, that did happen. I remember that. There was so much slop.
The whole group started crying as they thought about the time they had spent looking for something that wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, that definitely happened.
But as soon as they realized where Harry could have thrown it, everyone cheered up again.
Wait, what does that mean?
We're like, it's gone. It's gone so weird, forever.
Right?
Just crying. We're like, it's gone. And then Harry's like, wait, I threw it there. And we're like, oh, yes.
I think it's more like it's gone forever. No, it's like, yeah, but I didn't throw it at Greg and kill him. And you're like, yes.
Harry, Greg yelled, you dropped your keys.
You did do that.
I didn't drop my keys. I threw them away. You have to try harder than that, said Harry. Greg ran back to the bank and started digging around. He dug for hours before he found a speaker under a rock. Greg pulled out the speaker and put it in Harry's hands. Here you go, mate, said Greg.
Oh, I'm shelling now.
As soon as the key fob touched Harry's hand, he felt a surge of energy run through him. He quickly grabbed the keys off the ground and opened up his car door. He drove down the road while listening to his favorite song on the radio.
Wait,
he was so happy. Yeah, no, apparently.
Why? I found your speaker. I dug for that shit, man.
Well, I guess it doesn't think that we're out of town. So, what's it called? He grabbed his keys off the ground and opened up his car door. He drove down the road listening to his favorite song on the radio. He was so happy that he wanted to drive forever, but he had to stop by a gas station to fill up his tank. When Harry got back to the house, he went to see if anyone else was home. When he got upstairs, he saw everyone sitting around talking, so he sat next to Aadharsh. Apparently we all lived together. What are you guys doing? Asked Harry. We're talking about what happened at school today, said Greg. Aadharsh laughed and said, it's funny how we always end up here, even when something happens. Well, it's true, said Greg. There's never a dull moment around these parts. I guess not, said Aadharsh. They all laughed until they heard someone yell, hey!
Dull moment around these parts. Sorry, I'm just voice acting.
Everyone turned to see who it was, and there stood Harry. You have some friends, Harry.
No, I like to think that Harry walked in, and then everyone was like, "Oh, it's Harry," and then he left, and then he came back and was like, "Hey," and we're all like, "Oh, Harry."
You have some pretty good friends, Harry, said Greg. Said, "Yeah, I do," said Harry.
That is exactly something Greg would say.
Yeah, they got me.
So this is closing into the end. After Harry left, Aadharsh looked at Greg and said, our friend has come a long way since the first day we met him. I think he just needs a little push out of his shell, said Greg. He's certainly gotten past that now. He's become one of the most amazing people I know. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? The two started laughing because they knew that Harry would be there to get them going again.
Wait, what do you mean going again?
So there's like two more sentences, and I was like, this is so left field, I just stopped it here.
Okay, yeah.
Harry was driving along the highway on his way home from work when he noticed a sign that read, "Welcome to New York City, home of the Yankees."
All right.
Okay. He went over to the other side of the street to avoid getting stuck in traffic. As he passed the sign, he remembered a game he played with the boys. He stopped the car and turned it around and to look at the stadium. And I was like, all right, what the fuck are we talking about? Welcome to New York City.
Oh my god, that was great.
Yeah,
I love you re-entrancing the scene.
That's why I was like, that whole section was great, and then like the last part, I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
It turned oddly wholesome.
Yeah, maybe I should have retried it, and then oh well.
No, this is just fun.
All right, pretty good. And this one's a lot longer.
Go for it.
A lot of like in between. I was just like, what the fuck is this shit? All right, so the beginning part is about the same, but I added a little more detail to see if it would change up the story a little bit. But it actually it took a very left field with the key thing again.
The AI,
what the fuck is this shit?
The AI should be another member of our podcast because it loves to derail.
Yep. All right, so I'll continue the part. So the speaker hit the speaker and keys hit the water and sank. Greg and Harry Aadharsh hit the water in search of the keys, but to no avail, they could not find them. That was one of the things I added. As a result, Harry, Greg, and Aadharsh returned to the bus that brought them to the river to be returned to Harry's car, but with no keys. Now they had to wait for someone to... Oh, wait, that was the end part, because I want to emphasize, we didn't have keys, right?
Yeah.
You know what the AI...
We didn't just get out of this.
You see what the AI will do in a second. It said, fuck that shit. All right, this is the AI.
Okay.
Now they had to wait for someone to return before getting back to their car. We don't have any more time today, said Greg. We'll come back tomorrow. I've never been so happy to see the end of a school year, said Aadharsh. Then he just turned around and looked up at the sky.
Yeah, he would say that. That happens.
That sounds like me.
Yeah.
The three of them waited until all the kids were gone. Oh, it's probably because of the bus. Now I think about it.
Oh.
I did find it a little strange. The three of them waited until all the kids got out of their cars and headed out. When they arrived at Harry's car, they found it unlocked. Bullshit. They entered as if it was their own place. Harry checked to make sure no one was there before starting up the engine. Which I was like, bro, I have no keys. Why the fuck am I starting it up? But I was like, whatever.
You just hotwire your own car.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't even work in the car. Well,
oh my god, let the joke run!
It's like, see, the thing about that.
Actually,
well, the car has an immobilizer.
Actually,
there's an immobilizer on all 2003 and plus models.
It's probably more like a 2001, 1990 something. Who knows?
It's probably.
Shut the fuck up. Harry drove them home and made sure to. Harry drove them home and made sure to leave the keys inside the house. Thank you. He locked the door behind him and walked upstairs. He went to his room and closed the door before returning to the kitchen. Once again, apparently lived together. Greg and Aadharsh had taken the dining table chairs and placed them against his bedroom door.
Wait, what?
We're just.
I have no idea. Harry smiled when he saw the mess they had created. Then he noticed something strange. There's a dark spot near the corner of the door. He ran his finger across the stain and felt a rough surface underneath.
What?
He stood in front of the door and tried to pull the door open, but to no avail. Harry did not want to break anything, so he decided to try another tactic. He grabbed a chair from the dining area, sat it down by the door. After much effort, he managed to move the chair just enough to slip between the gap between the edge of the door and the floor. I don't know what kind of fucking chair this is.
I'm trying to visualize this.
Between the edge of the door and the floor?
I can't.
Harry just flattened himself?
What is going on? My brain
Once inside, he pulled the chair back over the
Yeah, no, I'm trying to see what's happening here, and my brain is just like, no.
Yeah, no, this story took so many turns, and I was just like, what the fuck?
I'm fucking blue screening in my brain.
You know what this is? This is the AI trying to lay out the setting and failing horrendously.
Have you guys
Harry
seen
got
like
up
those? Have you guys seen like those images that AIs produce? Where like it looks realistic at a first glance, but then you try to identify.
The more you look at shit, like the more things just get broken.
There's
and
no
you're like,
actually
oh my God,
identifiable object on the screen. That's what this is, but in text form.
Yeah.
Basically, Harry got up and moved to the living room, where he dropped the chair back onto the table. He walked over to the window and opened it. He peeked outside to make sure no one was watching before he jumped. He landed on the grass in front of the house where Harry returned to the house. He pushed open the door and ran up the stairs to his room.
Yo, sick prank, bro. Sick prank.
I read that. Honestly, I was like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with
you? You could have fucking
sneaks into his room.
For me. What was the part I missed?
Basically, he sneaks into his room, opens the window, and jumps out, and then goes back through the front door, and it's like, I'm back!
Why?
I seem to have a re-entry issue in this AI story.
That is actually pretty true.
Harry is the god of dramatic entrances.
Wait, what? No, I'm not. Greg and Aadharsh were already sitting on his bed. Aadharsh handed Harry a key he found under the door, while Greg held a bunch of keys.
This is Harry's. Wait. This is Harry's wet dream after the actual
keys. We were like,
there's so many keys.
Thanks for doing this, said Harry. No problem, replied Aadharsh. Now let's see what we can find. The two boys searched everywhere. They even checked the garbage cans outside. Finally, they reached a desk in Harry's room. On top of the desk sat a bag full of old clothes. Aadharsh picked up a pair of pants and shook them. A key fell out.
There's another key.
Yeah, no. He reached in again and grabbed a piece of paper. Inside the note was a date and time. It's tonight, said Aadharsh. Sounds This is the only clue we have. Aadharsh flipped to the next page and read the note aloud. Tonight, we meet in the graveyard across the street from my house. If you want your life to be saved, bring the keys. Harry.
Bring the keys! Wait, Harry! Are you still here?
That was for me, and I was like, I don't want to change that, because I don't know if, like...
Wait, you signed the note?
Yeah, no.
You are terrible at this whole master of disguise thing.
He's just standing right next to you, like, reading over your shoulder, and he's like, yep, that's me!
It's like, I wonder who it could be, Aadharsh.
I want to see where this goes.
Are you
I think in this story, Harry literally whispers the note, like reads it out loud to your ear as you're reading it.
Just as a little
along
echo.
with the Harry at the end. Yeah.
All right. Harry, Greg, and Aadharsh meet at midnight at the graveyard. All three of them are dressed in black and carry a flashlight. Greg had brought a book of matches, and Aadharsh had a lighter. They all walked towards the gravesite. Harry stopped once he was close enough to see the tombstone. What do you think? Asked Harry. You're right about the location, replied Aadharsh. That's the only cemetery
it's almost
nearby.
like you are the one who wrote the note.
I can't believe this is happening, said Harry. How are we going to get down there? I hope Greg's lighter work. Oh, actually, that's wrong.
Wait, but I have the matches.
Yeah, no.
I gave them to you. I didn't want the responsibility.
We swapped it, yeah.
No. Well, we might have to use the matches, said Aadharsh. If we light it, will you be able to jump down? Greg nodded.
Wait,
let's give
why?
it a shot, said Aadharsh.
Don't you know how fire works?
Yeah, no. He hasn't Greg. He lit the match and held it in front of Aadharsh's face. Aadharsh blew the flame out quickly to prevent the fire from igniting his hair or eyebrows. Then he held the lighter up to the match. He pulled the trigger and released it. The match lit up, but instead of lighting the gas tank, it ignited the gasoline on the ground. For some reason, they were standing on gasoline.
Yo, this is the story of Harry trying to murder us because of the key instance.
With a loud snap, the lighter exploded. Smoke filled the air as the three boys watched the flames grow. Shit! Screamed Greg.
Yeah, I would say that in that situation. That's correct.
I wouldn't blame you.
The smoke from the explosion covered their vision. Greg stumbled forward and tripped. He landed hard on the ground and a flashlight
Am
flew
I gonna
away.
die? Oh no.
Greg lay there helplessly as the flames consumed his clothes.
No!
Aadharsh cried out and Harry ran over to help him. Harry lifted Greg to his feet. Come on, said Harry. Run back to the car and grab Aadharsh's blanket. Wait, said Aadharsh. We need to get Greg to safety first. What if he's dead? Asked Harry. We'll deal with that later, said Aadharsh. We can't leave him here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, get my body out first and then check if I'm alive.
While Harry and Aadharsh helped Greg to the car,
I'll give you
Aadharsh built a small fire to keep the flames from spreading further.
Wait. Bro, we're so dumb. Why are we so stupid?
They wrapped the blanket around Greg and carried him to the car. They put Greg in the back seat and Harry started the engine up. Get us out of here, ordered Aadharsh. Harry drove like a maniac, causing them to swerve all over the road.
But wasn't the
And that's why he got caught.
Across your street? It's across your street.
Yeah, no. Aadharsh had the blanket. Well, I guess if Greg's in danger, you gotta take him to the ER.
Oh, true.
Yeah. You also gotta swerve.
Yeah, no.
Just for no reason.
The blanket tied around Greg. Harry pulled the blanket away and Greg coughed violently. I like
that's true. That is very true.
So I'm trying to keep Greg safe, and Harry's
I
like,
pulled the blanket away.
Yeah, I mean, you caused this situation in the first place.
True.
You're the one who sent us to the graveyard and probably put the gasoline there.
Shh. Are you okay? Asked Harry. Yes, just get me home, replied Greg. They drove off without looking back. Greg fell asleep shortly after they were back on the highway. His breath was ragged and he occasionally gasped for breath. Like normal.
Yeah.
Harry kept glancing back at Greg to make sure he was alive. When they finally arrived home, Harry parked the car and rushed Greg to Greg's side. He removed the blanket and Greg immediately vomited on the floorboard. Harry cleaned up Greg and put him to bed. If you vomited in my car, I probably would have been like, damn, you just died then.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is just so cap because as soon as he vomits in the car, Harry's like, "All right, we're going back to the graveyard. And this time you're going 6 feet under."
I'm sorry, said Greg. Don't worry about it, said Harry. I'm glad you're okay. I'm so tired, groaned Greg. He looked over at Aadharsh, who was awake and staring at him. Is he going to be alright? Asked Harry. As far as I can tell, replied Aadharsh. I think he would have died if we hadn't gotten him here fast.
What does the home do? Is there a buff?
Yeah, bro, you have passive healing when you get home.
Yeah, no.
That's how it works.
This is Ark. This is just Ark Survival Evolved.
I guess we should have a backup plan, said Harry. Next time we won't be so careless. Yeah, agreed Aadharsh. Next time we definitely have a backup plan.
Yeah, next time we don't fucking
Next time we don't listen to Harry's fucking note.
Alright, and this is a continuation off of that. This part was like absolutely out of left field. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Alright. Harry, Greg, and Aadharsh were hanging out at the pool for the rest of summer. Greg, however, insisted I needed to change the scenery. I know we've been having fun, but I want to do something different, said Aadharsh. Where do you suggest we go? Asked Harry. My friend told me about this abandoned amusement park in the middle of nowhere. It's called Ruston's Park. Abandoned amusement park? Asked Greg. Why would we want to go there? Because it's deserted, answered Aadharsh, and that we won't have to share slides with anyone.
Okay,
that is true.
Something
that
I would
is
say.
true.
I can't lie.
Sounds good to me, said Harry.
I don't know if they have slides at an amusement park, but that is true.
Water park.
I guess water slides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The boys packed their things and left the city. After a long drive, they reached the park. It was the middle of nowhere, and a sign posted on the entrance read, Ruston's Park. I wonder if this place is really abandoned, said Greg. It looks like it's being maintained. Maybe they're renovating it, suggested Aadharsh. The boys parked the car and took the path towards the main building. They climbed over a fence and approached the front gate. Whoa, said Harry as he stepped inside. This place is huge. Aadharsh laughed and said, You're right, it's bigger than I thought. They followed the path to the front of the building. Harry put out a large tent near the center of the lot. I think that's a roller coaster, said Harry. Aadharsh nodded his head and said, Yeah, I can see it now. Do you think it's safe to ride it? Asked Harry. Not exactly, replied Aadharsh, but it'll definitely be exciting. Harry looked over the fence. That does sound like something I would say. There's no one around, said Harry. We should go for it. All right, agreed Aadharsh. Let's give it a try. The boys climbed over the fence and entered the park. They walked to the ticket booth and bought tickets for all three of them. Which I was like, what the fuck? Why are we
bought tickets at the abandoned amusement park?
Yeah, the attendant gave them tickets and I wished them luck. Apparently it's not abandoned.
It's a ghost.
It may just be like a 1-star park that gets like 3 people going there.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess
it's that park we went to on our second food trip.
For facts, that shit was AIDS.
No, but see, here's the thing. It wasn't abandoned. That's the part that annoys me. Because I saw so many go-karts.
There was not a lot of people, but
we struggled to find parking. It was a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
If they had the batting cage and some of the other things they had,
things opens. Yeah,
mini golf, batting, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, mini golf and batting would have made up for it, I think.
Yeah. Blah blah blah. The boys thanked him and continued walking towards the roller coaster. As they neared the structure, they could hear the sounds of machinery coming from within. I bet those guys are working on the ride, said Harry. What are they doing? Asked Aadharsh. I don't know, replied Harry, but it must be important because they're using such big tools.
Yeah, that also sounds like something I would say.
Let's find a seat and wait for them to finish, suggested Aadharsh. They walked to the back of the building and found a bench near their exit. They sat down and waited for the workers to complete their task. Just then, someone came running from the roller coaster and ran towards the ticket booth. He knocked over a metal trash can, which fell into the streets. An old man wearing overalls came out of the roller coaster and started staring at the mess. Hey, yelled the worker. Clean this up before I lose my job. The man ran back into the roller coaster and grabbed some rags off the shelf. He wiped up the garbage and threw the rags in the trash can before going back inside. We will see it, Harry. At least we didn't have to clean that up by ourselves. Which I was like, why are we cleaning this shit up? Whatever. I wonder why they are working so late on a weekend, said Aadharsh. Probably because they're trying to fix something, suggested Greg. Or maybe they're getting ready for the grand opening, said Aadharsh. Either way, we shouldn't interfere. The boys finished their sandwiches and headed towards the roller coaster. As they neared near the end of the path, the sound of an engine turned Harry's head. A train was approaching from the opposite direction. The wheels were spinning and the cars were moving slowly. Looks like we missed our chance to ride the roller coaster, said Harry. Damn, this shit is long. I'm not giving up yet, replied Aadharsh. Let's follow the track until we reach the station. They followed the train tracks to the station, and the workers had stopped working and were looking up at the sky. The boys paused and listened to the conversation. Maybe it's an electrical problem, said the old man. I'm sure it'll start any minute now. I hope so, replied the young worker. Otherwise, we're screwed. Oh, shit, yelled the older man.
I have a question. Why do they all sound the same?
I don't know.
That's just what real work does to you, Greg.
I guess
because I forgot to switch voices midway. Both men pointed up to the sky and looked at the flock of birds circling above them. The workers ran to the control panel on the ground and began flipping switches. Suddenly, a loud thump echoed throughout the station. The train suddenly jerked forward and the gate started to open.
This story isn't about us anymore. It just shifted characters.
Yeah. It comes back to workers who rely on fucking birds to do their job.
This is the filler arc.
Yeah, no facts.
The boys hurried to get on the ride. Greg climbed into his car and closed the door. Harry got into the car behind him and pushed the button to release the brake. Apparently the brakes are on the cars. Harry felt his stomach drop as he heard the screeching sound from the brakes.
Yeah.
We're starting this thing, said Harry excitedly. Yeah, agreed Aadharsh. Let's go. The cars lurched forward and Harry held on tightly. He closed his eyes and tried to enjoy the ride. He could feel the car shaking and feel that it would crash. He opened his eyes and saw the other cars coming towards him. One of the passengers was already screaming. Harry looked to his right and saw a girl sitting next to her parents. She was pointing at him with wide eyes. He smiled and waved at her.
Wait, what?
I don't know. The car came to a stop and Harry climbed out of his seat. He ran over to the platform and stopped the people waiting for the ride. Are you the one responsible for that? Asked the mother. Harry nodded his head and said, "Yes, ma'am. We're the ones who shut down the ride." "Thank you," said the mother. "I was afraid those kids were going to fall out." I was like, "What the fuck is this bullshit?"
Harry walked way over. Too fragmented. I can't keep.
Yeah, no, I was really hoping it would like pull something together towards the end. Yeah, but like it's almost done. And I was like, it didn't really pull anything that great towards the end. I was like, "Fuck, this shit blows." Harry walked past the family and went towards the control panel. He flipped the switch to turn the ride back on. He climbed back into his seat and waited for the second car to arrive. Greg boarded and Harry closed the door behind him. He pressed the button again and the car surged forward. He looked back and saw Greg smile at him. "Sorry," said Greg. Greg shrugged his shoulders and said, "It's fine." The car reached the top of the hill and the train started to slow down. Harry leaned forward in his seat and braced himself for a sudden impact. He squeezed his eyes tight and prayed he wouldn't be thrown against the wall. The car finally came to a stop and Harry opened his eyes. Everyone cheered and applauded. Harry looked out the window and saw the parents of the girl waving at him. The ride had gone much smoother than he anticipated. Apparently, I'm controlling this bitch now. "Well, that was fun," said Harry. "Greg, I agree," said Greg. I didn't even realize I was smiling." The boys laughed and exited the car. Harry returned to the control panel and flipped the switch for the third time. The cars began to move again and the boys climbed aboard. Harry closed his eyes and leaned forward. He imagined the feeling of flying over the hill and slamming into the wall at the end. He could almost hear the screams of the passengers. "Just one more time," said Harry. "I need to experience the full effect." Harry said, "Agree to Dash, one more time." The boys rode the roller coaster every day after that. And I was like, what the fuck is this ending? I went psycho towards the end. He imagined the feeling of flying over the hill and slamming into the wall at the end. And I was like, what the fuck?
I have to say, like, when we were sitting through, like, the first 2 times we were going in that coaster, it was like, this is kind of like, what's happening? It's getting a little boring. But when it did it for the 3rd time, that's when I started laughing, because I was like, wait, you're going on it again? and then you're at the end of that one, and you're like, one more time! And I'm like, no!
And I was like, yes.
I want to point out that this is the key story. This is the story of your keys.
Yeah.
And also was the story of you being a escape artist. And it was also the story of the graveyard thing and me almost dying.
Yeah,
I feel like I just watched a feature-length film.
So I think what we can take away from this is the less context you give it, the more fucking insane it becomes. Which, I mean, granted, I kind of just knew that before coming into this, but it's nice to see it.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised, like, at how mostly cohesive yours was, Aadharsh, and also hilarious. Yours was so good.
I think it's because, like, your writing style is a little more unique. Mine is basically just cookie cutter, like normal author writing style. I'm not that creative, but I can write like decently.
For mine, like, I kind of know why mine ended up like that, because mine was just like the context was too serious, so the material it gave me back was also serious. So it was kind of random, but it was still serious. So
well, I was mostly referring to how much it struggled to make anything.
Just continue the same thread. Yeah. Oh yeah. I did keep going off topic. Yeah. The flusher.
Read that out. Let me read that out.
Yeah. All right, so we were messing around with this AI yesterday, and a long time ago, Harry sent us some interesting Snapchats while he was at work. Do you want to tell this story, Harry?
Yeah. So
it's not that long. It's just you were.
I hope no one at work ever finds this shit. So I work for a company, or I like an intern at a company while I'm in school. It's technically called a co-op. So I'm like in school one semester, out of school working, and the whole purpose of it is to gain experience, and hopefully, if I enjoy it after I'm done with school, they'll possibly hire me. And since I have experience, they'll pay me more if I enjoy the company. And then also, if I want to work something called getting a professional engineering license, technically this counts of 1 year towards that, of being towards the application to getting doing the whole professional engineering license. Because depending on the state you're in, you got to be working as an engineer for like X amount of years before you can actually go take the exam and possibly get your license. But that's a whole nother stuff. So there'll be times at work where I have a little downtime, or I just need to let my mind kind of like wander so I can like concentrate again. And so there'll be times I'll just open up a note and I'll just start typing, and I'll just let my mind just type whatever first comes. And
there is a term for that. It's called free writing. Like it's an actual technique writers use to.
I'll free write all right.
Yeah, word on it. Yeah,
and I'll put down some dumb ass shit because I just
can confirm that it was quite dumb, but it was also pretty funny.
Yeah, because it's just anything that first pops into my mind with no filter, and like there's a lot of lead going on in my mind sometimes.
Yeah, so the only time I've ever free wrote was after like an exam when I had like an hour to kill and my brain was working overdrive and it had nothing to stimulate it. And those papers get thrown away. And I'm really glad, right? Because after a while, like this was probably years after I did that, I saw like a post on Reddit that was like it was just like all the writings of like a schizophrenic gone crazy. And I was like, I can't lie. This kind of there's a few similarities.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've had to do free writing for like English classes and stuff, so it usually is supposed to be kind of schizophrenic because you can't stop writing. So if you run out of stuff to write, you just completely 180 to something else.
No, but it's because like that guy's had a lot of diagrams and like a lot of numbers and like connecting them, and because like I think it was a math exam. So I was just like making weird mathematical connections in my head. None of them make any sense. Like there was no, like it was just me trying to prove theorems to myself that were just wrong. But this is how I learn math. This is how like I make relations in my head. And so anyway, it's like the reason I bring it up is it's so different to the way Harry does it, because like. Harry's is like fragmented, but they're separate, like they don't connect. Once Harry's done with a thought, he moves on to another one. I have I have like 80 separate thoughts, and then like the next part is me bringing all of them together. It's like a fucking tangled mess.
Yeah.
So it's the difference between like overthinking
maybe that should be a topic one day. Just free write and see how our brains work. Just compare like our style of free writing, like how our brains just word vomit. Yeah, that could be a fun thing at some point. All right, Harry, I want you to read The Flusher because it is your masterpiece.
The Flusher.
Yeah.
I have it pinned. Correct.
It's like it's right up there.
All right. I really hope no one from work finds this.
Yeah.
This is all alleged and completely false.
No.
This is
totally
all,
fictional.
I mean, this is all
AI
AI generated.
All AI generated.
Yeah. Harry would never do this anywhere.
All right.
Do not mention where the AI starts. Just let it.
No. What do you mean? This is all AI generated.
Yeah.
True. Right. Yeah.
I have destroyed the toilet every day since I have been employed. I always take the big toilet. It is nice and roomy in the stall. I shall continue to use it to my own discretion. My actions are not directed to any individual. They are intended to cause general disruption, which will hopefully lead to a more efficient work environment. To that end, I am going to continue to sabotage the toilets. If you have any questions, please direct them to me through our manager. I'm sure he would be delighted to speak with you further about this matter. Signed, The Flusher.
I ruined that because I was laughing too loud, but I couldn't stop laughing.
It's so good. Every single sentence of that is so good.
I know. Even the first
that's the AI at peak performance.
Yeah, no. It was just
and also
Harry's
brain at peak performance.
Harry going, I always take the big toilet. It's just so funny.
I always take the big toilet.
It's nice and roomy in the stall. Oh my god.
All right. Well, to wrap this up, I have a surprise for you guys. I wrote one more story.
Okay.
And I'm not going to give you any context nor tell you where the AI starts. I actually want you to try to guess where the AI starts.
I think I
all
can
right,
do
here
it.
we go, boys. It was a hot summer day in 21, and 3 bright-eyed young'uns were sitting in the back of a school bus. These fine young gentlemen were all different shades of Asian, and they were kicking up a ruckus together as little boys do. The reason for their excitement was revealed at their destination, a wooden shed perched at the side of a flowing river. Inside this shed was bright yellow tubes, the type for swimming in. That's right, the boys were tubing. It was not their first time, but it would be their last. After waiting a very long time due to tube-related shortages, the boys got their tubes and excitedly ran towards the river, giggling and dancing. Not even bothering to take off their clothes or shoes, they hopped right in, joining hundreds of folk floating slowly in the river towards an unseen destination. One of them spoke up. He was the brownest one of them all. His name was Aadharsh, and he remarked, "Well, blimey, Greg, is it just this for 3 hours?" Gregory, the mulliest one, laughed. "Yee, this is what you signed up for. Harry, put on some tunes, partner." Harry was naturally the hairiest of the 3. He had so much hair that he didn't even wear clothes, just wrapped himself up in his layers of hair. Harry was also the one with the phone and speaker, planning on listening to some sick banjo solos for all 3 hours of the tubing experience. He flashed a smile and pulled up a song. Aadharsh leaned back in his tube, touching the water to feel how wet it was. "Dang, nabbit, Harry, I can't hear the banjo. Can you pass the speaker to Mole Man over there?" Harry paused the banjo music to say, "Yes, sir," and then resumed it, throwing the speaker and the keys chained to it over to Greg. Unfortunately, Harry and the others realized too late that the speaker was heavier than expected. They all watched in shock as it paused in the water, then immediately sank down in the murky water. "No!" Harry yelled. "My keys!" Aadharsh and Gregory looked at each other with wide eyes. Both knew that something wasn't right about this, but neither could figure out what it was. Gregory turned to Aadharsh. Gregory turned to Aadharsh and said, "Hey, Aadharsh, mind if we talk about something without our friend here?"
Yeah, that's what AI started.
Aadharsh glanced over at Harry, who was still screaming about his lost keys. "Yeah, go ahead." They both took a breath and began. Gregory said, "I think we should get out of here." And Ash smiled. "You know what, Greg? I think you're right. Let's get out of here before anything else goes wrong." Gregory nodded, and they both went to the edge of the river to climb out. Suddenly, Harry popped up from the water beside them. "Wait, guys, I found my keys."
Oh, yeah.
He held up a small black box which contains the keys. What? Gregory and Aadharsh looked at each other and shrugged. "Great," Gregory said. "Let's go home." In the distance, Greg heard a voice screaming something. He turned to see that it came from someone behind Harry, who was now floating face down in the water. Harry was dead. But more importantly, the keys were gone! Lost forever from Harry's cold, dead hands into the water. The end.
You died for nothing.
Greg, why the fuck did you do the key story?
I didn't know you were gonna do the key story as well. But I was kind of hoping one of you would do the key story as well.
Oh my god. We have rinsed the fucking key story.
Oh my I think we should just never tell the actual key story.
Yeah.
People are just gonna have to try to piece it together from all the context.
It's pretty obvious, to be fair. Like you can tell
beginning,
when the AI starts in
the beginning, so the AI actually starts at my keys.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the beginning of the key story is pretty obvious at this point, but I think the follow up is where there's not really much information out there yet.
Basically, me and Greg
don't say it.
Touched.
Don't say it. Oh, okay. And yeah, that's fine.
Harry was basically just wailing about his keys.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like how we were just like, something's wrong about this situation, but I can't place my finger on it. As Harry's like, my keys. We're like, Harry seems distraught.
No, I like that we were actually just like, yeah, honestly, the vibes are off. You want to just like leave?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that is what we did. So that is a true story. Harry lost his keys, and we were like, "Yeah, we're gonna head out. You can find them. You got it."
Yeah, no.
All right. Well, I think that worked pretty well, actually, for the most part.
Bro.
Yeah,
we gotta like title this effectively, because this could honestly, this is the first podcast we've done that's like got potential because it's so unique.
Rip.
I mean, it's true. It's got YouTube potential.
Yeah. No, I think this worked pretty well. The AI is quite good at at some things, and then not so great at some other things.
Yeah, no, it has its moments.
That bit of, man, so many good moments. Adil, that was great. That killed me. Yeah. Adil fucking killed me.
By the way,
Dash and
I had no input. I had zero input.
Yeah, with the whole cousin thing. It's just your cousin showed up.
Yeah, and his name was Adil.
Also kidnapped by these people and also adopted. No. You know, these people probably knew your parents and were intentionally stealing their kids away because they kidnapped your cousin first.
That's true.
So they're taking your extended family. They're just gonna assimilate all of the children from your relatives.
I just hate how stupid I was in my story.
And then
Harry's parents grew up in a different part of India, so I'm not Indian. Come on.
I mean, you were 5. It's okay. But your short story, Harry, the bit of you just coming back to to entrance again, that's so good. It's just like Harry came back and the boys are like, "Hey,
you have great friends,
it's Harry."
Greg said.
Yeah, no.
You know what we actually should do? We need to make skits out of these. Like, we actually have to act these out and do them. And it's us in the role, so we don't even have to act. It's just us just doing actual things. I want to act out Harry's wet dream of the keys. Like, Aadharsh, he turns to Aadharsh and Aadharsh has the key, and then he turns to me and I'm holding a bunch of keys in my hands.
Oh my god.
I want to act that out and then just put like sexy music behind it and like the dream effect.
Why? Why?
We'll do that for your birthday.
No, please don't.
Yes!
I will actually.
We'll film it in Vancouver.
Oh my god.
It will be for your next birthday. You have to act in it too, because you are the key.
I refuse.
You're the key slut after all.
I refuse. Fuck off.
All right. Well, thanks for doing your homework, everyone.
Yeah.
No one cheated. Everyone got an A, but it's curved, so everybody got an F, and you all fail. All right. Thanks for dropping in and listening to our stories. You can find us on youtube.com/@thederailledpodcast. That's the @ symbol, not AT. youtube.com/@thederailledpodcast. With a new episode every Tuesday, straight at 12 o'clock p.m. AM EST. Don't forget to drop a like if you inhaled some air through your nose. That's coming back. And subscribe if you want to listen to us more. This has been Derailed, and we will see you next time.
Deuces.
No, don't bring that back. Not that. That's not coming back. Deuces is not coming back.